Hey guys, it's Miss Simpson, and today we are going to talk about the Civil War in social studies. So, at some point in this PowerPoint, I'm going to stop and I'm going to label a map with you. That part of the video is the most important because that's what you are going to do today for your assignment. So, when it gets to that spot, you can take a screenshot when I finish labeling the map, or you can just remember where it is in the video so that when you go to label your map, you can come back to it. But for now, I will let you know when that time comes. But for now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy me telling you about the Civil War. All right. First of all, let's talk about some causes of the Civil War. So first of all, one reason why, okay, so let's reflect. Texas joined the United States. So we had too much debt. We couldn't do it on our own. We couldn't be our own republic. And so we joined the United States. So shortly after we got, what happened was the Civil War. The first reason that the Civil War was happening was because of there were enslaved people in Texas and the South were used to work on large farms and plantations. So a big thing is slavery. They were forced to pick crops, clean, cook, and perform hard labor. And the North did not. So the Civil War is between the North and the South in the United States. The North did not want slavery, and it was illegal in the North, but in the South, they did have slavery. And Texas is in the South, so we were a slave state. But by 1860, 1/4 of people in Texas were enslaved. That is a lot of people who were slaves. Slavery was actually illegal in the North, where farms were smaller and most work was in factories. Texans thought that to keep their state strong, they needed slavery. So in order for us to be strong, they thought, we need this. We can't let this go. They said that they were treating people who were enslaved very fairly. But not all Texans believed in slavery. Those who wanted to do away with slavery, they were called abolitionists. So another reason was states' rights. Texans believed that each state should be able to decide on their own laws. They said that there shouldn't be anybody deciding it for them. This included whether there should be enslaved people or not. This is called states' rights. Also, factories and plantations. Texans and the rest of the South were made up of large farms and plantations. The North was mainly factories, and these were very different ways of life, and that led to way more disagreements because they weren't living the same life. So let's talk about Abraham Lincoln, and I'm sure that you have heard this man's name. He was an incredible president. Let's talk about Abraham Lincoln. He represented many things the South did not like. He was against slavery, and he would not add any more states to the United States that allowed the enslavement of people. He said, if you want slavery, then you will not be part of the U.S. He thought there should also be a strong federal government, which is not what Texas wanted. We wanted states' rights. We wanted to make our own laws. But Abraham Lincoln thought that we should have a federal government, which is a government over all of the states of the United States. And the North supported Lincoln. So let's talk about a nation divided. So because of all these differences, Southerners agreed to leave the Union. In 1860, Governor Sam Houston, y'all remember Sam Houston? He called a vote to see if Texas should join the other Southern states and secede from the United States. And remember, secede means leave. So we joined the United States, and now we're talking about leaving the United States with the other Southern states. So Governor Houston did not want to leave the Union, but the Texas delegates voted to secede. So then Texas joins the Confederacy. Texas and 10 other Southern states joined together to form the Confederacy. So there's the Union, that's mainly the Northern states, and there's the Confederacy, and that's mainly the Southern states, and we just joined the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis was chosen as the president of the Confederacy. So we're about to get to the map part, so listen up. The Confederacy, that was the Southern states, was made up of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and Virginia. And the Union was made up of Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wisconsin. So for your assignment today, you're going to have this picture right here, and you're going to have to label the map with the Union States colored in one color and the Confederacy colored in one color. So I'm going to actually help you out and show you what that's going to look like. Okay, so let's take a look at the map. I already went through and labeled the states on the map. We are just going to color them together. Look at the map. We have Texas. I'm going to do the southern states, the Confederacy, in purple. So I'm not requiring you to label all of the names. I'm only requiring you to color in the states that are, purple is going to be the Confederacy. And then I'll tell you what the other colors are in just a second. So for the Confederacy, we have Texas that we're going to color purple. We have Arkansas, which is right here. We have Louisiana. We have Mississippi. We have Tennessee. We have Alabama. We have Georgia. We have Florida. South Carolina. And Virginia. One second, I feel like I'm missing somebody. Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. Nope. So these are the Confederacy. These are the Confederate states. So I am going to shade these in purple. So on your assignment, these states, and I am going to be checking that you shaded in the correct states. These states need to be shaded in purple. Okay, so let's talk about the Union. So the southern states were right there. Now let's talk about the Union. So we're going to do the Union in green. And yes, I do want you to write this so that you remember. So for the Union, we have Connecticut, which is right here. It's a really tiny one. We have Delaware, which is right here. We have Illinois, which is over here. We have Iowa. We have Iowa, which is right here. After Iowa, we're going to have Kansas. We're going to have Kansas right here. That's next, Kansas. Sorry, I didn't label this one. This one's Iowa. Okay. After that, we're going to have Kentucky. Kentucky's right here. After Kentucky, we're going to have Maine. Then we're going to have Maryland right here. Then after Maryland, we have Massachusetts right here. These are tiny states. Then we're going to have Minnesota and Michigan. So we have Michigan right here. Minnesota's right here. Then we're going to have Missouri right there. New Hampshire right here. New Hampshire right here. And then we're going to have New Jersey. I know it's a lot of states. Just hang in there. New York, which New York is a little bit bigger. We have Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, which Rhode Island's real tiny, Vermont, West Virginia, and West Virginia, Wisconsin. So all of these. And don't just go scribbling around everywhere because you're going to mess up and not do the right states. all of this is colored. So we have the Union is the green and the Confederacy is the purple. So this was all of the states in the United States as of right now. Okay, I know that took a while, but now that I have labeled it, you can easily go in and color these states. So right now is where I would take a picture, because this is what you are doing for your assignment. You are labeling the Confederacy purple, color it purple, and color the Union green. Okay, let's get back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so we talked about the Confederacy, we talked about the Union, and why we decided to secede and join the Confederacy. So let's take a look at how the war begins. So in 1861, on February 1st, the Order of Succession passed in the Texas legislature. So we're going to secede. Although Texas joined the Confederacy, Sam Houston refused to take the oath of loyalty to the Confederacy. He said, no, this is ridiculous. We're not doing this. Then on February 16th, secessionists in San Antonio took all equipment belonging to the U.S. from General Twiggs. Then on April 12th, Fort Sumter, South Carolina, was attacked by Confederate soldiers, beginning the war. So this is when the war officially began, April 12th. Then in July of that same year, the Union Navy set up a blockade. That means they couldn't pass off the coast of Texas. So a blockade is a barrier that's set up and it does not allow soldiers or supplies to cross it. So this kept Texas troops from getting supplies and sending them to the rest of the Confederate Army. So in August, the Union Navy fired on Galveston. Remember, the Union is the North. So those are the northern states that did not want slavery. They supported Abraham Lincoln. And the South is like the southern states, the Confederacy, and that's Texas. And we did want slavery. We did not support Abraham Lincoln. So the city was immediately surrendered. The Confederate Army was embarrassed and sent in troops to reclaim the city. So let's talk about Terry's Texas Rangers. Native Texan Benjamin Franklin Terry fought for the Confederate Army. He began a cavalry unit in Texas. A cavalry is a unit of soldiers on horseback. So the unit was made up of volunteers who brought their own supplies and their own horses. So General John Bell Hood led a group of soldiers who fought in many battles under Robert E. Lee. And as you continue learning about history, that is a huge name that you'll continue to learn. Then the next year, 1862, in August, the Confederate troops, which is Texas, attacked a group of Union soldiers on the Nueces River. This became known as the Battle of Nueces. Some viewed this battle as a massacre because the Union soldiers were unprepared. Then the next year in 1863, that's 3 years so far, the Confederate Army won back Galveston on January 1st after 2 years of Union control. In September, the Union tried to take control of the Sabine Pass. This would give the Union access to ships to go north up the Sabine River, as well as a railroad to Houston. The Davis Guards, a Confederate unit, were able to stop the Union ships. Then the next year in 1864, we're on year 4. The Union Army marched towards Texas, but were stopped by the Confederate Army at the Red River. The next year, April 9th, 1865, the Civil War ended finally after 5 years. The last battle of the Civil War was fought May 13th, 1865 at Palomino Ranch. This was more than a month after the war had ended. So let's talk about, okay, all of that war stuff, all of these things happened. What were the results? Guess what? Slavery was abolished. The North won that part of it. They abolished slavery, no more, which means that it ended. There was no more slavery. And they did that by signing the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. Then on June 19th, 1865, Union General, which is the North, Gordon Granger announced the emancipation to Texans in Galveston. This day is now celebrated as Juneteenth. So let's review what just happened and what we just went over. The Civil War was fought over states' rights, slavery, and economic differences between the northern and southern states. The South, we seceded from the Union. So here's the Union. We seceded, we pulled off, and we formed the Confederacy. Texas decided to join that Confederacy, and we played an important part in the war. After the war was over, we did sign the Emancipation Proclamation, and I think it was in 1863, so that was kind of a little bit towards the end of the war. I mean, it freed slaves from all southern states. So everybody in the southern states, that purple that we colored, they were all free. The Union, which was all of the northern states, they won the war, and the Confederate states rejoined the Union. So they broke apart. Texas joined the Confederacy, and now we joined back together, and the Union actually won the war. Okay, so today, again, for your assignment, you are going to be, hold on. You're going to be labeling this map. You're going to color the Union States green and the Confederate States purple. All right, my loves, I hope you learned a lot about the Civil War. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Reconstruction. I love you guys. Have a great day.